How's it going, everyone? Hope y'all been having a really good day so far. My name is Ward. Welcome back to Sigmas and Gamers. And today, it looks like Ninja, who's the world's top streamer, talks about how video games can make you smarter about money and investing. So without any further ado, let's go and dive right into this article, which will actually start off saying that the best economics textbook may soon be a video game. The next Warren Buffett is probably sitting in the couch somewhere in the world right now, holding not stocks, bond, or cryptos, but a controller. So this is the part where Ninja saying that when he was a kid in the early 80s, back when the only global pandemic, global, has everyone seemed worried about was Pac-Man fever, they told us that video games would rot our brains, that playing them would make us somehow both hyper-violent and hyper-lazy. Trust me, this is the kind of narrative that was shoved down my throat my entire life. Even like way back when I was a kid and teenager who was really getting into video games back in the day, and every time when I just turn on the console, turn on that Nintendo, the society just freaks out saying, "Oh my God, this is gonna fry your mind," and all that stuff. Trust me, a lot of those baby boomers are a little cuckoo in the head. Yeah, which is one of the reasons why we say "okay, boomer" these days. So. But I digress. Let's go ahead and dive right into this. Continue with this, saying that that's all. That was all. Mostly nonsense, it seems. I gotta agree. All that kind of stuff that's saying how video games are bad for you, they're gonna fry your mind, they're gonna turn you into a psychopath and all that stuff. All that was all just a bunch of baloney, nonsense, and just a lot of stuff. Just people just freaking out because that's whenever video games were becoming mainstream around that time. Even though that technically video games have been around way back, just right after World War II ended, and then they started to become but as soon as they became more mainstream, that's when society started to freak out about them and all that stuff. Yeah, I know I'm kind of sort of getting off topic, but this article right there does speak a lot for me, and I just gotta get my voice out about this, saying how I can easily relate to all this stuff back in the day. So instead, as the gaming industry has overtaken movies and sports in America, yep, and as games themselves are the side of the sword of artistic explosion and innovation we saw in modern art, music, and movies in the 20th century, there is also a strong case to make that rather than rot our brains, video games can actually enrich them. Yep, I can agree right there, because such as video games could actually spark that creativity, and even back when I was playing in Super Mario Brothers when I was a kid, I remember it kind of did spark my creativity, even to where I was constantly drawing levels, it was on paper that you could actually print on back when I was a kid. But then as soon as I kind of progressed through school, that's when that sense of creativity just got beaten out of me. Over time, I'm just but soon, and now that I'm done with school, I'm starting to regain that sense of creativity that I lost years ago, and just now living by myself and just living by the famous quote of Nikola Tesla, saying that if you're alone, creativity, that's when creativity is gonna come to fruition and all that good stuff. Of course, I can't say that verbatim, but for those that kind of know Nikola Tesla and kind of know his history and his quotes, I'm sure most of you guys who are watching this video know where I'm going at. So games can help us get better at managing money in life, and that's just a theory. A game theory, as Matt Patrick said. I gotta say, I love that reference right there. Thanks for watching. So one of my son's favorite YouTubers tells his 14 million subscribers at the end of each video, but I decided to put it to the test. And then the article will continue saying that the game of life, there is a quote sometimes attributed to Ted Turner that life is just a game and money is just how we keep score. I gotta agree, because that's how I kind of view my current net worth is just such as every time when I get a new paycheck, I just kind of see myself just constantly breaking a new record every time, and also try to see if I can make it even further to actually investing in stocks and crypto. And I gotta say, it's a very rewarding experience, guys. So I've always found this to be an obnoxious sentiment, but Edward Castronova, an economist and professor of media of Indiana University, who has studied the virtual economics of video games, says people have been comparing life to games for thousands of years. Well, guys, looks like life has been a game for thousands of years, even probably way back in the days of the Roman Empire, and also Greek, and also the days of Greece as well. And there's some truth to it. And then he quotes saying that the phrase "life is a game" does not mean that life is silly. He writes, "Life is a game. What game design says about the human condition." His fascinating and delightfully his weird book on the subject. He continues saying it means that life presents all people with choices, and those choices combined with inevitable randomness produced by the choices of others as well as nature herself come back in the terms of gains and losses. And money is at least one way to keep score, and in 2020 when the game Animal Crossing became a huge hit, many marveled at how suddenly kids and adults across the world were inevitably learning how the prices and arbitraries work. This should come as no surprise. Castronova has run experiments on prices in games, told me, in quotes, "I have never seen anything in a video game that violates any known or accepted economic theory. Economic behavior in games exactly like economics behavior, like he said. It's a ninja star," and so on. And what do gamers make of the idea that games teach players about the economics and managing money? I asked Tyler Bevins, better known as Ninja, one of the world's most successful pro gamers who has earned millions of streaming in his play on Twitch and YouTube. And then he's saying, "I mean, V-Bucks, dude," he said, referring to the virtual currency in the game that has made him famous, Fortnite. So they just added this thing called gold, and basically the more things that you break down and opponents you eliminate, the more you build gold over time, and then you can use that gold to upgrade your weapons. So in role-playing games, you'll learn how to trade, and even in how to deal with inflation. And Ninja told me the sophisticated economics engine of today's games force players to reckon with scarcity, supply chain issues, and trade wars. But even in first-person shooter, in a first-person shooter like Fortnite, there's a lot of strategy in how you manage your gold and resources. Ninja, as said by Ninja, it is basically like budgeting. I guarantee you, there are younger players that are thinking the exact same thing, even though they don't know it. Like, I only have enough to upgrade my shotgun once, and they're literally budgeting. And Ninja spent years honing his game skills, coordinating movements of the mouse, eyes and fingers move and aim faster and more accurately than his competition. He attributed his success to talent and hard work. And when I asked him about the role luck played in his own rise to gaming stardom, or how much luck matters in games in general, he sounded like so many CEOs or other stars I have interviewed over the years. "There's almost no luck in competitive gameplay at the high level, really," he said. "Pay to win." So, luck may not be the factor, but in the economics of games, players can care a great deal about fairness. If there are only games that allow players to buy the edge by spending more money, sort of the equivalent of 1% buying the kid into USC. And then Ninja continues saying that those games are what we call pay-to-win games, and that no one really likes. I mean, any true gamer is going to cringe when they hear that games like, while there are V-Bucks in the game, it is free to play. Fortnite is not pay-to-win game. Well, it's not a pay-to-win game. So, games prefer their virtual world to be meritocracies, if I pronounce that correctly, Castronova said. The designers have to strike a balance between equality of opportunity and equality of outcome. Everyone should start with the same amount. They care about the wage rate, the amount of stuff that you can't get per hour. What doesn't bother them is equality of outcome. That is, players with more skill or those who put in more time should be able to accumulate more advantages. Game developers have been putting economics on staff to get these virtual economics right. I spoke to Justin T.H. Smith, a data scientist in economics at Electric Arts. Games that do that will communicate to the player, "We appreciate the time and effort you are putting into the game," he said. Then showing that players are valued is a tough thing to do, and it is why we need to get the currencies and economics right. People make trade-offs between time and money and risk, just as they do in real life. And there are lessons to policymakers here about how it makes a fair and equitable society, and that also what could spark the next revolution, Castronova said. Social science uses games like models to analyze real situations, and more generally, we can say that all games are models. Every game tries to models some aspects of reality. Chess is a model of war. Poker is a model of bargaining. Hockey is a model of Canadian saloon brawl. So for much more on how professors and high school teachers are using games to teach economic ideas in the classroom, listen to the new episode of our podcast, Ask the Best New Ideas in Money. And Ninja does not have any pretensions to becoming the next Warren Buffett. He says that his approach to video games is not unlike his approach to his money. He is methodical, he does his homework, he practices a lot. He trusts the running of his business is to his wife and other professionals. Games have definitely helped him evaluate money decisions though. When approached with the investment opportunity recently in NFTs and crypto, he was interested in but ultimately balked. They explained the entire thing to me, man, and I know that's potentially the future, but the whole thing was too confusing for me. And instead, he made an investment in something he does know and understand. My investment in Pokemon cards lately has been just out of this world. They've been skyrocketing. Warren Buffett would approve of that game, that gameplay. And so I guess that's going to be it for this article, guys. And I gotta say, this is like, despite how long it was compared to the other articles that I previously covered in my previous videos, I gotta say this was actually a really good read and very relatable, saying how back then we kind of like dealt with the narrative that these baby boomers kind of threw at us, that saying, oh, video games are gonna make you violent, they're gonna make you a psychopath, they're gonna rot your brains and all that stuff, which honestly, like, science proves that video games don't actually do that. They actually improve your psychology, such as improve your mathematics and all that stuff. And because personally for me, as somebody who played video games my entire life, I actually did graduate with a STEM degree with a bachelor's in computer science, to where like most of the gen eds actually involved taking calculus 1 and 2. And I gotta say, I actually passed those 2 courses for the first time, like in one try. Despite how hard it was, very satisfying, and it's actually really improved me. Definitely made a lot of improvements on my life a lot, such as like academically, and now that I'm starting get into investing, I'm starting to see it as more as a game, and to keep on winning and just using that opportunity to actually kind of know the rules and how the stock markets and cryptos usually work to where whenever things go downhill, like when we hit the bear market, that's when you start investing. And for those who don't know what the bear market is, that's basically when the stock market actually goes downwards, but when it goes upwards, that's what we call the bull market. And which is and once we hit the bull market, that's where you should sell your stocks in crypto and so on, or just basically just kind of wait it out and so on. Just, you just got to play like a game somehow, and just like that. And I gotta say, a really good article, and just really interesting to look into and so on. And that's going to be for today's video, guys. And if you found this video to be helpful and informative, then be sure to drop a like as always, and subscribe for more content like this. Hit the bell to be notified when my next video is going to drop. And if you have your own thoughts or opinions based on Ninja's take on saying how video games can make you a smarter about money and investing, then go ahead and sign off in the comment section below and get a discussion going. And thank you so much for watching. And as always, we will catch you all in the next one.